Oh, it's
Exactly.
going?
So I figure, hey, there it is. Now it's going.
I'm not ready. Hold ass! Here we go. Season's greetings, fangirls and fanboys. It's another episode of Electric. I actually don't know what episode is this.
I think it's 117.
117 of Electric Fancave on electricfeast.com. Possibly. Kristen Lotterell here, along with Corrigan Vaughn, and boy, do we have some great pop culture treats for you. We have new movie trailers for Fast and Furious 8, Baywatch, The Circle, and Dunkirk. We've got some new info on Pixar's super secret Coco film. An SNL cast member is heading to Hamilton, and we get all sorts of heated in a new edition of Why Is That a Thing? So grab a hot chocolate and a sugar cookie, because hey, it's almost Christmas.
Yay!
Huzzah!
Oh my gosh. Can you believe how close it actually is to Christmas right now?
No, I cannot. It's craziness.
I looked at my calendar yesterday, and I was like, 10 days, 10 days! I have gotten like 0 presents for people. I just haven't really wrapped my head around it. It's the end of the semester. I've been like focusing on, final exams and all that stuff. And so now I'm like, what?
Yeah, I don't want to brag. I have a couple of presents that are like real good this year.
Like, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't want to brag, but I'm going to. They're pretty good. So
no, I'll allow it. Listen, for Keo's birthday, which was, about a week and a half ago, I got him tickets to see the Lakers, and he's never seen the Lakers. And so now I've pretty much used up all my good gift giving, but I was pretty proud of that. I was like,
that's pretty good. That is pretty good.
Well,
I was on a couple. I was like, I thought about it, and I was like, in order to get this done in time, I have to do it early. But then there's other things that I totally like missed the boat on, and then they're terrible. So
exactly, that's kind of how it ends up working out. I mean, the thing is that I think is important when it comes to gift giving is it's like listening for the thing someone says something about, but they'd never buy it for themselves. And a lot of times, like, I know, like, we're adults, so if we want something, we buy it. And so that's always the tricky thing. And I'm not crafty. I can't make you a gift that's not ever going to be a thing. And so all I have is like hoping maybe I can find something that like, kind of appeals or whatever. So I have 10 days to do that now. I think my Etsy window has closed. And,
I had one girl, I emailed her like weeks ago and like wanted something. And I sent her something, and she got back to me really quick. And she's like, "Oh, this actually, could you maybe change the picture? It's like a little weird." So I edited it and sent it back to her, and then she never emailed me back.
Oh no!
And so then finally, I was like, "This girlfriend's not getting back to me." So I went on another site and was able to do the same thing. So I sent her a message. I was like, "Hey, like, don't worry about getting back to me. Like, I've figured it out." And it had like an automatic reply that was like, "Hey, like, if you're sending me something now, like, I'm sorry, I don't have time. I'm only doing orders from before like December 10th. I'm like, yeah, the one I sent you like a week before that, you mean?
Go figure.
I was like, huh, okay. Well, anyway, and then she's like, I'm so sorry. I was like, it's okay. Like, it's fine. Yeah, it wasn't a big deal. But yeah, they are probably swamped at this point. Etsy, you have to get on like in October.
Yeah, exactly. And that's not like Keo's good at that. He will get on it like super early. And, he had like an Etsy gift for my mother like weeks ago and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. So,
And it's hard because my sister-in-law is that person who will remember something. I think I've told this story before. One time I complained about being like having every blanket I owned on my bed because it was so cold. Yeah. So for my birthday that year, she got me an electric blanket, which I never in a million years would have bought for myself.
Yeah.
But I am
never would have even thought of it.
The best gift ever. And there was something else that she did the same thing. We'd gone out to dinner and I mentioned like, oh, this little black purse is like the worst or something. And she like got me a purse. You know what I mean? I was like, yeah, you're so thoughtful.
So good at that. Like
you're so good at it. And I'm so bad at it. And so it's so hard because my brother's like, oh, Bridget's got some good stuff for you. I'm like, oh,
like, oh no.
And she was the person this year where I was like, I couldn't think of anything. And
like I bought Bridget a coaster set, little baby onesie. I don't know. Yeah. Tell me about this hat.
What's with the hat? You're like very intrigued by the hat. It's raining and I didn't wash my hair today. Okay. People.
Okay, to be fair, the first time I mentioned the hat, your mic wasn't working, so I didn't hear your answer to it.
Okay. I thought you were... See, when I wear a hat, sometimes at work, people look at me like I have a raccoon on my head. And I'm like, these are like normal hats people wear. And so I like it because not only does it keep my head warm when I'm in the rain, but also my head dry and my hair sort of dry. And like I said, my hair is dirty today.
So it's so weird that people are looking at you like you're like dirty or something.
Yeah. Well, and plus it saves me from having to like really spend a lot of time on my hair in the morning, because I'm like, if it's okay if it's like up here, it looks kind of gross, because I'm like, I'll just put a hat on. I just have to worry about the bottom part, which is the only part people will see today.
That's good. That makes sense.
Life hacks from a.
By the way, thankfully, Wesley Jacks has just told me exactly what he wants for Christmas on our feed here. He said, I want a cat coffee mug filled with bath salts. Now, I don't know if he means like the bath salts like you actually put in the bath, or he wants to get high and eat somebody's face. But noted, Jacks, I will do my best.
I kind of hope it's the former.
Yeah, no, that would be ideal. Also, just for the record, now that Christmas is getting closer, that means Ireland is getting closer.
It's 23 days away. Fun fact.
23 days a day. We are totally taking you on this adventure with us, just FYI.
Yeah.
There will be videos. There will be photos. There will be, I can't wait to show you Kristen getting a tattoo, because that's bound to be hilarious.
Okay, can I just tell you? So my friend Leslie, she was like, I went over to her and her husband's. Oh, Taylor. You know Taylor.
Yep. I know who Leslie is. Yes.
You know Leslie. Have you met Leslie?
Yes.
Okay, whatever. Anyway, you have? Where did you guys meet?
At Brian's hockey game.
Oh, right. I forgot. Okay. So she's like, oh, I've been listening to your podcast. And I'm like, oh, it's always like kind of embarrasses me when people that I like know from real life, like that I interact with on like a regular basis watch. Just for some reason, it makes me feel like awkward. I'm like, oh, okay. I feel like I'm so weird on that. Just great. Thank you. But also thank you. Right. And she was like, I'm very worried about, I know you guys, I heard you're getting a tattoo. And I was like, oh, yes. And so she was like, I feel like you should wait until the end. She was very worried about the fact that we're like getting it in like the middle of the trip. I was like, well, we can't do anything about it. Like it's set. It's happening. Is what it is. I was like, we're going to try and get it in a place where it won't like annoy us too terribly, you know? I was like, and that's like that day and the next day are basically rest days. And so we won't have to be doing a ton.
Yeah.
But it was so cute. She was like, I'm just very worried about like, you know, like it could really
recovery.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm not getting like a ton. It's like small. It's not going to be a big deal.
Yes. And
I'm not doing like we're not going to be like Avery, who's like blacking out our entire arm.
Yeah. Listen, Avery got that entire arm sleeve thing and let us touch it the same night. So, hey.
Yeah. And we were drinking the same night.
So. Yeah, that's not ideal. So, Leslie, I hope that you can rest assured that we will hopefully not be destroyed by this.
We hopefully will be okay. And I mean, I'm not making any promises. I still haven't figured out where this thing is going, and I really need to get on that.
Yeah, and they'll help you there. You know, they're not going to leave you high and dry if you're like, I want this.
I know. And they are very excited that we're coming, which is fun. So.
Yeah, we've made a spectacle of ourselves. Surprise, surprise, you guys. It's the weirdest thing. We have made a spectacle of ourselves in getting ready for this adventure. So they are anticipating our arrival.
And I'm like, oh gosh.
It'll be a good thing.
I know. I mean, we are quite a whirlwind, all of us together. So
yeah. Yes, this is true. Yeah. So anywhere that we go as a trio, they remember us the next time we come in.
Yeah. So. Yeah, right. I know.
Hopefully like fondly.
8 years later, we come back to Belfast and we decide to get more tattoos. They're like, oh my gosh, Kristen.
Lewis girls, what? Hey. They probably will remember us. We're amongst their first at their new studio, so hey.
True. Well, and it does look very nice in there.
If anyone happens to be in Belfast, a sailor's grave tattoo is this new tattoo place, and
so you will get a grand tour of it when we are there.
Yes, sure. Exactly. We will show you around, and it'll be a delight. Anyway, should we talk about pop culture?
Let's do it. We've got some stuff, you guys.
We've got a lot. So we missed a couple weeks here, or a week and a half.
So sorry, Corey had finals, and it was the season's madness, travel, all that stuff. But
oh, and you sound better, Kristen. You don't sound sick.
Thank you. Yeah, I actually feel a lot better today. So usually when I get sick, I'm like, oh, I'll just push through it. But then I get really sick and I cough for 8 years and it's the worst and terrible. So this year I'm like, I don't have time for this. I need to be good by January. Christmas is around the corner. So like when I was feeling not great last weekend, I like slept for 2 days. And then this whole week I've done nothing. Like I went to work and I go home and I sleep. I go to work, I go home and I sleep. And I really think that's helped. And I especially think last night, because this morning I woke up and was
Mhm.
feeling like a new person. So I'm like, I think I'm over the most of it. I'm going to still take it easy tonight, but I think I'm like solid and good to go. So
Yes. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear it.
that's the key.
That's
guys.
good news.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Good news. Good
Doing
news.
the things that your mom told you to do when you're sick since you were a little kid. That is
I
the
know.
key.
Shocking.
We
Weird.
just don't do it as
Yeah.
grown-ups.
Interesting.
So what's on the docket?
We have a very important trailer to talk about, you guys.
Yes.
So last Sunday, if you missed it, the whole Fast and Furious crew cast was in New York, and they're kind of doing a live like show broadcast premiere of the new Fast and Furious 8 trailer, The Fate of the Furious, some are calling it, which is like kind of a fun little
Yeah.
thing. I always love how they try to like make cool names for them. I'm like, people are still just gonna call them. Remember, they tried to call it.
We're just gonna call it Fast 8.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, no, people. Yeah, we're not gonna call it that. Or there was this. Was it the 6th one?
Well, it was the 6th one they tried to call Furious 6, right?
No, 7.
And nobody.
Or Fast 6.
Well, no, 7 it actually caught on. So everyone kept calling Fast and Furious 6 Fast 6. So they were like, screw it. It kind of caught on with Furious 7 though.
Yeah, true. So this one. Whatever, I'm probably just gonna call it Fast 8 because honestly, by this point, Fast and Furious is just getting cumbersome. But we got the new trailer, and it is.
We did.
There is a lot happening, you guys.
Whoa.
Now, what is your theory here on Dom? Because I have one, but I want to know what yours is.
You have one? I don't have a theory. This is like I watched through the whole trailer and I was like, okay, so she's clearly got. So in this trailer, we should probably explain. Dominic Toretto, played by Vin Diesel, turns against the rest of the team. They're all like on this mission or whatever, and then all of a sudden Dom like sideswipes Hobbs, and yeah, like all of a sudden this is all going down, and then you see like Charlize Theron is like somehow getting him to turn on them. And so it's like, I mean, it's tricky because my first thought would be like the only thing that would make him turn on them would be in order to protect them, but he's clearly not protecting them.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. What's your theory on this?
I think there's some kind of like poison, brainwashing type of deal going on.
Because she's all high-tech cyber terrorist crazy.
Yes. Also, her hair, by the way, I'm like super into whatever's happening. She's really good at playing that like ice queen. Like remember like in the hunt in that stupid movie with
The Huntsman.
Yes. She was
Snow
like
White and the
so good. Like she was so good. And so I'm excited about her. But because she's this like cyber terrorism, like there's some kind of like brainwash or some kind of chip she's implanted or something, because even his has like dead eyes, because Dom always has like a lot of, even if he's not showing it, there's feeling behind him, because like whenever he looks at Letty or whenever he's looking at his his team or his family, it's like there's something there, and there seems to be nothing happening there.
And that's a good call, because what really threw me off was the moment, I mean the whole thing threw me off, but the moment when like she kisses him. And I was like, why would he let her do that? That's beyond the Call of Duty, you know? Like, what is right in front of Letty? I was like, no.
And and also the part when they are like essentially trying to recapture him, and they have all those in his car.
The
juice, and he's like, oh, that's how you want to play it, and then he like flips what I think it was.
Yeah, it was like Letty and
Roman or somebody flips together, and they're. I was like, that could have he could have killed somebody.
Yeah,
I was like, he would not. I mean, Letty of all people, he wouldn't do that. And so there's some kind of
mind
something
control
going on. Yeah, but honestly, the prison break scene is going to be worth the entire cost of admission.
Oh
for this
my
movie.
gosh! When The Rock and Jason Statham.
You guys, and Kurt Russell's back. It's like
and pretty Clint Eastwood. What's it? Scott Eastwood.
Oh my gosh, you guys! It is. At first, when I first watched it, I was not impressed by the fact that Dom was being bad. But the second time I watched it, I'm like, okay, I think there's something else at play here.
Yeah, right. I think that's a good call, because
otherwise,
it's just not,
I'm like,
there's nothing he would protect over that group of people.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's been the entire theme, so there has to be something else at play. that would make him do that. So I like your idea. I feel like you're probably onto something there.
Yeah. So, but it looks
all
great.
Those,
We've
all those
got
espionage movies you've been watching, Kristen.
I know. I'm telling you,
That
you
are too
guys.
confusing for me.
I'm pretty good at them. But it looks like it's got all the cars. It looks
great.
It's got the cheesy Roman jokes. It's got everything else that you want, I think, in a Fast and Furious movie.
Yeah.
So my brother was
I
like,
live for Roman Pierce.
My brother is like just over the moon. He's so excited. So
it's gonna be good. I'm excited. When is the premiere date for it?
Great question. I actually don't remember.
There was so much going on in it.
I think it's like either this summer or May.
Okay, so it's not too far.
It's 2017 for sure, but
that's good. I just hate when things are like way far out.
Yeah. So it's exciting, you guys. So you guys should check it out. Obviously, we will link to that.
Link.
Rock trailers. We should talk about the teaser trailer we got for the Baywatch.
By the way, this is another one. Like, I don't understand what the definition of a teaser is anymore, because a teaser trailer used to be like the 30-second trailer before you got your 2-minute trailer, and now it's 2 minutes, and I don't understand how that's a teaser.
I don't know. Maybe it's because it's the first one, and so they're trying to differentiate between first and second. I don't know.
So, like, maybe it's because it doesn't totally tell you the plot, or I don't know. Anyways,
kind of get the either way.
Regardless, we have a Baywatch teaser.
What did you think?
I think it looks funny. I do need more, so I guess that's why it's a teaser. Yeah. I think, like, I wasn't sure what Zac Efron was going to be in this. You know, when I saw like pictures of him, I was like, ugh, this is too much Efron, you know, but now that I see his character and everything, and it makes sense for him to look that way and act that way, I'm kind of into it. And The Rock is very funny, of course, in the trailer. So I don't know. I like that it's because the show wasn't really funny. It took itself fairly seriously, despite having, you know, some fun little moments in it and stuff like that. But, you know, the moment where like the one girl's running down the beach and she's like, why does it always look like she's running in slow motion? And the other guy's like, you see that too? You see that too? So playing with itself and being like a little ridiculous about the premise. I mean, you've got things like exploding and it's this crazy action movie, and that's never what Baywatch was. And so I'm kind of excited for that.
Yeah, I feel like they're just kind of, and honestly, the first opening scene where they did the like kind of music, I was like, oh, ooh, okay. And I mean, honestly, it's basically just it's always it looks fun because it basically just looks like a mystery kind of cop one, but with lifeguards instead of cops. And The Rock, he is funny, and I wasn't super. I thought it was a weird concept, same thing, because I always thought they were kind of more serious shows, and I was like, they're gonna make it an R-rated comedy, but.
Right. And it's made by the people who made Horrible Bosses.
Yeah. So it could be fun. I don't know. I wasn't like, I didn't watch it. I was like, ugh, no, hard pass. But I was like, okay, it could be so good. It might, I don't know. We'll see.
I'd probably see it in the theater. This week, just thinking of this, I was in Northern California. My sister's birthday. We went to a Star Trek convention. That's what she wanted to do this year. It turned out to be amazing. I was like, I love Star Trek and everything, but like I never really saw myself going to a convention. And now I'm like, oh, I'd go to this every year. It was super great. But I was actually, and for those who are Star Trek fans listening, FYI, always go to the gym in the morning at your hotel, because I totally met Nana Visitor and Terry Farrell from Deep Space Nine while I was on the treadmill. So let that be a lesson to you. Work on your fitness at your Star Trek conventions. But anyway, I was listening to Anna Kendrick's book, Scrappy Little Nobody, on the way back down from the Star Trek convention. And she has this whole bit in there about Zac Efron, and just like trying to explain the magnetism of Zac Efron. And it's so funny because she's just talking about the fact that it's like, she's like, it's everyone. It's not just that like girls fall all over Zac Efron, like men fawn over him. She talks about like being in Hawaii and he was like cliff jumping, you know, and that there was like just like a horde of like teenagers that were following him and then like doing exactly what he had just done. Stuff like that. It's just like there's something about him that just draws people, you know, and she can't really explain totally what it is, and she tells like little stories of even things he says that like sound kind of dumb but for some reason are charming coming from him. It's so fun. It like makes me want to meet Zac Efron just to be like, what I like, he's hot and everything, whatever, but you know,
there's got to be something
usually
else.
I can keep it together. But I want to know what that like magnetism of Efron feels like. So it's a good book. You should definitely check it out.
I'm planning on downloading it so I can listen to it on the trip.
Highly recommend it. I mean, it's nice because like the audiobook version of it is like 6.5 hours long, so it's like basically exactly the trip from Northern California to Southern California, and it is also around the same time it'll take us to get to Ireland. So
there you go.
Boom.
So crushing it.
Baywatch sounds interesting. Withholding judgment, but I'm mostly in.
We'll see. And then on to a little bit more of a serious note. We got a trailer. Technically, I guess it was kind of a teaser. I don't know, for The Circle. With it's Emma Watson, John Boyega, and Tom Hanks. And Tom Hanks seems to be like a
he's like your Steve Jobs kind of
tech guy, and he owns this company or something called The Circle, in which most of the trailer has his kind of voice narrating it from like the Steve Jobs type of like convention thing where he's like up front presenting, and it's that like it's just a weird feeling I was getting watching it because I trust that voice so much because it's Tom Hanks, and he always plays this like great, you're like, oh, Tom Hanks, and he's talking about information. He's like, we can solve any problem if we share everything. The problem is people like hoard information, but we can solve hunger, we can solve sickness. And it's this great speech, and he's like, but we have to know everything. And the more he's talking about it, and like as it's the images are kind of matching, it's starting to look like it's getting a little sinister towards the end. You're like, actually, I'm not sure that I want you to do that. But at the same time, and Karen Gillan.
Oh yeah, Karen Gillan. She's briefly.
Which I didn't notice the first time. Briefly is in the trailer at least. So, it was so interesting. And so you're not quite sure. It's like they've got these little cameras that are everywhere, so they're seeing everything. But what are they really doing with it? And it seems kind of like but like I said, you're watching it, and it's like, oh, it's Tom Hanks though, and you trust him, like he's great. I'm like,
he's gotta be good.
Maybe I shouldn't trust him. And it's
especially, I mean, you get the sense that like, okay, so everyone's signed on for this Big Brother type world that they're living in, right? And you can see how that is bad in and of itself. Like it's got its good things. It's curing all these ills, but then you see people cheering as someone is like arrested on camera and all this stuff, and you're like, it's a little weird and mob mentality-ish, and really, should we be able to arrest people on things we saw them do privately on camera, yada, yada. And then there's like this other element of John Boyega seeming to show Emma Watson something that actually is very secretive in this circle thing. So there's also something darker. So it's not just Tom Hanks may be a guy with great ideas, but it's misguided. But also there seems to be some other element of it that, the public doesn't know about.
Right.
So
I was on board. I was like, this looks so. I'm on board. I'm in it to win it for this one. I mean, it has every person I love. Like, I don't like anybody that they've shown me so far.
Yeah, seriously, it's always a good thing.
That alone, I'm like, okay, this is happening. But anyway, so interesting. And like I said, I'm pretty sure it was a teaser. But if it wasn't,
I think you're right.
They should I would feel like they should keep it at that kind of information, because that gave me enough from like, oh, I want to see that, but I don't really want to know a ton more because I don't want it to give away too much. Right. So I almost would like, I mean, I know they'll for sure release another trailer because it's so early, but I'm almost be like, don't release another one. Like, keep us on this one.
I know. I'm just gonna like cover my eyes and ears when I'm at the movie theater and they show it. It's like, really perfect how it is.
I want to go in and be mildly intrigued. So
that's like, I mean, I went and saw Moonlight yesterday. And the thing
I'm so on the fence about it. Everyone's saying it's the best thing ever, but I'm like, I can like really already feel my heart being ripped out, and like
it's I would say it's not necessarily a heart ripped out movie.
Yeah,
it's like there's not gonna be like some like something like, what's that new Will Smith movie, Collateral Beauty, where it's just like intentionally trying to like wreck you or something like that. You know, it's like, you know, something like horribly sad is going to happen and you're going to sob and all this kind of stuff. Moonlight is more, it's like someone doing life and you just like really being in it with them.
Okay.
And, you know, how someone's life progresses and how they end up where they do in life and the things that shape who they are. And I had, like, people had been saying on like Facebook and Twitter and stuff, like, just don't read anything about it. Just go see it, you know? And so I had no idea even like what the plot was of this movie. Because if you see the trailer, it doesn't tell you anything.
Right. Yeah. You're just kind of like,
yeah, you're just like, okay, there's this movie.
But I'm like, but it's the fact that
people.
it's like one of those ones where it's just somebody's life. I'm like, usually something tragic happens to someone
Something
you get super
horribly
attached
tragic
to,
occurs.
you know, because
Right.
Anyway.
I think that's one of the things that works so great about it is that the emotion in it feels very genuine as opposed to manipulated.
Oh, okay.
You know, there's nothing in it that happens. Yeah, nothing in it happens just to like make you cry or make you mad or, you know, things like that. You will cry. It's just not set up in a way that is like supposed to calculatedly devastate you.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
things that's so genius about this movie is it's just.
Well, plus it's got Mahershala. Oh gosh.
Mahershala Ali.
Yep.
Yeah.
I always screw that up.
him.
I always put way more. I for some reason think that his name is longer than it already is.
It is longer. It's like his real name is.
Like, but the one that he goes by isn't. But the one that he. Anyway. Yes, you're right. I saw him. He was on Colbert or one of those guys talking about, and he was there for Moonlight, and they showed a little clip of him, and yeah, it was interesting. Even the clip that they brought, usually the clip they bring is like, "Ooh, what's that going to be?" You know, you're kind of like, "Oh." Yeah. And the clip they brought was just very normal. It was like him talking to a young boy.
Yeah.
And that was it. And then the clip was over. I was like, "Oh," I was like, "That okay." That was, and plus, like my immediate previous experience with him was in
what's his name?
Luke Cage. Yeah, so I'm expecting, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be like, and I was like, oh no, he was just okay, interesting, you know. So anyway,
that's totally how the entire movie goes.
Yeah, if you liked him in Luke Cage,
like, oh.
I get the feeling you'd like him in this, but it looks like a very different role for him.
Yeah, very different
than Luke Cage. But anyway,
I really recommend it.
So
go see Moonlight. It's as good as everybody says it is. Yes. And hopefully, I was going to go see Manchester by the Sea last night, but then I fell asleep. So hopefully today I'll go see that one.
Man.
And
my roommate said that wrecked her.
That's Wes said he cried watching it. And I was like, okay, so I'm going to die.
Yeah, I saw the trailer. I was like, honestly, anything that has Casey Affleck in it, I'm like, I'm not going to want to see that because it's going to be too sad. I don't have the time.
I love him so much, but you're right.
He just makes only sad movies now. I'll just watch Ocean's 11 over and over.
He has like a very sympathetic face. You know, it's
That's
like
true.
William H. Macy. Like now he doesn't necessarily play this kind of stuff, but for a long time it was like every time you saw William H. Macy in something, you're like, he's just going to be kind of sad and pathetic, and I'm going to feel bad for him. He just has that kind of face. That's how I feel about Casey Affleck too.
Well,
it's like. Yeah.
Anyway,
so I plan to be destroyed. I'll let you know how that goes.
All right, we'll have fun.
Yeah.
And then last trailer that we'll talk about is the Dunkirk trailer.
Oh, yeah.
So this is the new Christopher Nolan movie. I have a friend who's a big Christopher Nolan fan, sees everything Christopher Nolan does. And he's actually
theoretically, I see everything he does. It's just not because I'm a huge Christopher Nolan fan.
Yeah,
he only
just
makes big movies.
Right. And while this is I scope wise is going to be a big movie. I was talking to him about it, and he was like, he's like, it's so interesting to see, I think, what he'll do with a war movie, because he doesn't usually do that. And I was like, do you think it'll be really a lot of like the blood and guts of war, whatever? And he's like, and he, I don't watch a ton of Christopher Nolan. I think I've seen Interstellar.
You saw the Batman movies, right?
I didn't. Well, I didn't see the last one.
Inception? You didn't see Inception?
I didn't see Inception. I'm the worst. I don't really. Anyway, so what is this? Is he was saying that he doesn't think it's going to be like a bloody and gory movie? It's going to be more like. I don't know. He's like he thinks he'll focus more on like kind of the stories and at least the people, and it looked like that from the trailer at least that we got. Now the teaser for that was an actual teaser. I don't know if you guys remember seeing it. It was a bunch. This is a World War, 1 movie.
1.
1.
Okay.
When?
What?
Oh my God, is it? Well,
I'm
now I
gonna
have to
Google
look
it real quick. Continue talking.
Anyway, he's and they're all in these. I guess it would be 2. Yeah, it would have to be 2. Yeah,
that
it's
was
2.
my thought.
You're right.
Now I'm okay.
Sorry.
Yeah,
You're right,
it is
you're
World
right,
War II. I was
you're
like, am I totally on another planet right now?
No,
But,
you're right.
okay.
You're right. Sorry. The more that I went to think about it, I was like, yeah, obviously the technology in that. Yeah, sorry. Okay.
Continue.
So the teaser that you got was like this flat boat full of men, and they're obviously going to beach somewhere, and they're all sitting there looking one way, and you hear a plane faintly overhead, and one guy turns around and looks, and then it gets closer, and another guy turns around, and then pretty soon the entire boat has turned around and looked, and then the trailer ended, and you were like, what the fuck? Like, okay, teaser.
Here.
It was 30 seconds. It was very short. This new one gives you a little bit more. We've got Kenneth Branagh in it. We've got
Harry
Cillian,
Styles.
is that how you say that? Oh, he was in it?
Yeah. It's like, what's happening here? That's Harry Styles.
Well, Tom Hardy is in it. And so
Briefly,
it's about these men who are essentially like stranded trying to get back to England and can't. And so they are on this beach and they're like, you see them like all lined up, and these German planes are essentially picking them off as they go. And so it's this kind of story of how they get back, and this story of that. And
it's, as they point out, it's France, so they're super close. They're almost home, but that was the part that actually kind of haunted me at the end, is when he was like, I can see it.
You can see it, and the guy's like, what? And he was like, home. And I'm like, oh God, that guy's not going to make it, probably. That guy won't make it. But I was very interested in it because it looks like a really, and I was so stressed out the whole time. So it looks like it's almost a thriller more than like your normal war movie,
Right. And I think that's kind of where the Christopher Nolan thing will kind of come in on this, is that, he's not going to necessarily make one where you see a lot of people just sitting on the beach, it's not going to be the Pacific or something like that, I think that there will be sort of a thriller aspect to it, and that it's bound to be super visually stunning. That's guaranteed. I mean, the way the planes look in it and everything, and that brief view you get of Tom Hardy in one, and all of it like feels like it's going to feel very like real in a sense, So no, it looks, I mean, I always watch World War II movies anyway, or war movies in general, so. Target audience, and I like the people in it. So after I watched it, I was like, that looked like Harry Styles in there. I like looked down the comments, and like everybody was talking about it. Like someone was like, if Harry Styles dies, I want to be sitting next to a directioner when it happens. And like stuff like that. Like, yeah, Indy. Because it kind of I mean, when you have like your young pop star in it, it's just like in U-571 when they killed Trigger, Tom Geary from The Sandlot. You're like, you have Will Estes and Tom Geary. One of those guys has to go. They're too cute, And Harry Styles, you see him like on the beach or whatever, and then you see him like drowning underwater, which he could get saved from. Who knows? But also, he's the young pop star. He's probably gonna die, realistically. So there's that. Dunkirk.
There you go, Dunkirk. We're excited about it. Looks cool.
Into it.
Now we're going to, as we've been talking about trailers, I actually have a little rant I want to talk about, and we're going to go into, we haven't done this in a while, but I have a why is that a thing?
No, it's been a good long time. Yeah.
I have a why is that a thing rant. Okay. They have this new thing that they're doing, if you are scrolling through Twitter, Facebook, whatever, where they have the video for the trailer, and before the trailer starts, they do like a mini preview to the trailer they're about to show you. And I don't understand why they do that, because guess what? The trailer itself is only 2 minutes at most. You don't have to like preview the trailer, then show me the trailer. Just show me the damn trailer. Like the trailer, like by definition, is a preview. So why are you previewing the preview of what you're giving me? I don't need both. Just tell me, hey, here's the trailer for Passengers. You don't have to show me like Jennifer Lawrence in the weird water in the zero gravity and then start the trailer back from the beginning. And then it's like, then I'm confused because I'm like, wait, what happened? Did it already start or did not start? I feel like I've missed half.
That's always how I am.
And then I back
like,
it up
am I
to
partway through?
Yeah, and then I back it up to start it again, and I realize, oh no, it's a dumb like preview thing, so I haven't actually missed anything. Now I just have to watch that part again when they're going to show it to me in literally 30 seconds later. I'm going to see this exact same thing. Why is that happening? Why is that a new like thing? And at first I thought it was just, I only saw it like once. I think Passengers was the first time I noticed it, and now like every trailer I come across is doing that, and I'm like, stop it! Just tell me that the trailer is starting, and so I know to stop my screen and put on the volume and watch it, because now it's like this whole thing, and it's very obnoxious. It's kind of like when you turn on the radio and you think your favorite song is playing, but really it's a commercial, and you're like, damn it! You know?
Yep, that's true.
It's very annoying, and I don't like it.
Yeah, this is like the distracted ruining it for everyone, I think, because my theory on this is probably that they have found that because there's so many like auto playing videos and stuff like that, if you don't show someone something they immediately recognize, they'll scroll past it. So if you are scrolling by and you see the beginning of the Passengers trailer with like the like scenery or whatever in it, like the bar, the inside of the ship, you might be like, meh, and keep going. But if you see J-Law first thing, you're like, what's that? And look at it. That's my guess as to why they actually do that.
I don't like it.
I don't know.
I don't like it.
I just feel like, most of the time it's just confusing to me, and I want my trailer to just flow. I'm just gonna watch it. It's fine.
Yeah, you don't need to show me the end before you show me the beginning.
Right.
I like to watch things from the beginning.
That's why I don't like spoilers. It feels like they're spoiling the trailer for me.
Let me just experience it as it is.
I don't even watch the intro to America's Funniest Home Videos when they tell me what videos are going to be on it, you guys. So
Right? Or like on Drunk History when they're like coming up on Drunk History. I'm like, don't show me. I'm just going to watch it. I don't need to know what's coming. I'm clearly already going to be watching this episode. You don't have to like
I've committed
with later things, because then the joke, sometimes the surprise then is not funny. I'm like, oh, I already saw. That's not as funny then when, the end.
Speaking of which, I went and I watched like 4 episodes of Drunk History last night. FYI.
Just love that show. Have you watched the Hamilton one yet?
No, it still isn't up yet. I was going to buy it, and then I didn't because you'd already seen it, and then I never got around to it.
I couldn't wait.
But hopefully it'll come up soon. That was the whole reason I was watching it last night anyway. I was like, oh, I wonder if the Hamilton one's up. And I was like, still not there yet. Probably another week.
He's just so adorable. I can't handle it.
All the clips I've seen of it have been treasures, and I just
gold.
I need it in my life. Hey, speaking of Hamilton, they have a new cast. Well, they have a bunch of new cast members, none of which I recognized, except Taran Killam from SNL. Yeah. Taran Killam has joined as King George in Hamilton on Broadway. That's pretty fun.
That's so fun. And I didn't know he was that's kind of a background of his. He, like he's a singer and
he's never been on Broadway before, but he does have, a singing background, a musical theater background. Apparently he went to the LA School for Performing Arts and did that whole thing. And I believe it. Someone posted, when I posted this on your wall, someone had replied with his character on SNL that wears like that period, which is one of my favorite characters too. I was like, I wonder if someone saw that and was like, we should ask him. Yeah, we should ask that guy.
Or I wonder if he even like just audition, even if that's something he wanted to do. Because I'm like, he's currently on SNL, isn't he?
No, which was the weirdest thing. He got fired. Yeah, they fired him and someone else this season who were like staples, like people everyone loved. And it was like, why? Why did you do that? Taran Killam's really important to this show. I mean, at this point, the women hold up that show anyway, but well,
then good.
It was
then I'm even more glad for him that he gets to go do this instead. That's huge. Now he can do anything on Broadway he wants after this.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's a pretty good inroads right there. So as I was doing this, I was looking to see like, did anyone comment? And someone commented on the Hamilton. It was Ben liked the Taran Killam announcement on your wall. But anyways, yes. So Taran Killam will be in Hamilton. And as I said to Kristen, we will never get to see that unless he plays it for like 20 years and we can finally go see it. But nonetheless, I'm surprised, Kristen, that you didn't try to get San Francisco Hamilton tickets.
I know. Honestly, I didn't even it wasn't even on my radar that was a thing that was happening, to be honest with you. And because
they get it before we do.
When I feel like it's just so like never gonna happen. Like I've just like resigned myself to the fact that I'm not ever seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm like, what's the point?
Yeah.
I don't know. Which is like very defeatist, I realize, for someone who's usually pretty optimistic about stuff. But yeah, like it wasn't even on my radar to look. I didn't even know, like when Bree told us her parents got tickets, I'm like, I didn't even like know that was happening. Like, okay, whatever. I have
a lot of regrets about it because I had an alarm set to buy those tickets. And then I was like, but I'm supposed to be driving home at this hour. And the waiting room is crazy. I was in the waiting room the week before for the like pre-sale thing. And I was number 95,000 in it. So I eventually got an email that was like, yeah, we got nothing.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to do this one. And I was like, well, if I end up in the waiting room, though, it's probably going to delay me driving down. And so I didn't do it. And then when I see other people having them, I'm like, I should have done it. And like, if I had bought, a handful of them, you can basically make your money back reselling any you don't use. So I'm like, not to be one of those people, but I mean, you can definitely, if you can probably find a posse who will go and pay you the regular amount for them. But if you can't, clearly you can make money back. And so it's like, man, I just really should have sat down for a little extra time and done that. Those tickets.
Such is life, I suppose.
Yeah, regrets. Still get to see it in LA, so I can't complain that much. But
there you go.
It is what it is. Anyway. Oh, we had more BS to talk about.
Yeah, we've got a couple, and actually these next two sort of, I feel like, go a little bit hand in hand. So if you guys noticed on the Electric Fan Cave Facebook this week, we posted a picture, or not a picture, an article to the Hollywood Reporter, who had an animation roundtable, which sounds so interesting. I love to read a roundtable. Yeah. And I love all these movies that these people represent. Well, actually, that's not true. I think I've only seen one of them.
Yeah, I like Moana.
Maybe that was a lie. But regardless, okay, whatever. Honestly, it's the title alone that made me, it took me a while to even read the article because I was so angry about the title. Yeah. If you look at the picture, it is 7 white men. And the title of the article is Animation Roundtable, Seth Rogen and 6 more on avoiding ethnic stereotypes and how to break the mold of princesses. 7 white men are going to tell us this.
7 white men.
Already, I'm like, honestly, any other title would have worked.
Right.
And I would have...
Animation Roundtable on its own.
Yeah, Animation Roundtable with the makers of, of course, whatever, Moana, Zootopia, Kubo and the Two Strings, Little Prince. Okay, these are like big animated movies. Of course I'm going to go read this article. And I still would have been kind of angry about halfway down, but not as angry as starting when I started out.
Right. I mean, it's still, no matter what way you look at it, having an animated roundtable and not having any, women or people of color on it is already like kind of bad news. But then to make that such, it's almost like they looked at it and they were like, hey, we have like all these white dudes on it. We need to do something to counteract this. Well, they talked about diversity in princess movies in here. Let's make that the headline. And then it's gonna, people are gonna feel better about it. And you're like, what? Are you kidding right now? And even Seth Rogen pointed it out. Like he tweeted and was like, finally, white men get their say about, diversity in Hollywood or something like that. And it's like, yeah, you realize this is bonkers. Because I'm sure that's not what they were sold either, like being on this round table.
No, I'm sure not.
They're going to be the ones talking about diversity on this.
Well, and again,
they had no idea.
It's one of those, I'm sure it was one of those things where they were individually asked to be on it, and you get there. And honestly, they probably didn't even think twice about it until it came out. And then we're like, oh.
Yeah, and then you're like,
shit. But then even when you're like, reading it, like you're like, okay, this has got to be just some sort of giant troll on all of us because there's no way this is real.
Yeah.
Right. especially when you get to the point when it's talking about like how do you approach different ethnicities and cultures in animation and like run the risk of some group to take offense. And already you're like,
okay, oh boy.
Okay, here we go. And like even here, it's like it was like the guys from Moana,
yeah,
right, who are Disney, and oh gosh, it's so funny because the way that they approached it, it was like, oh well, we had this like novel idea to do research, and we did a little bit,
yeah.
But then like the head honchos at Disney were like, no, do more, and we were like, oh okay, we'll do more. You know, when like someone else was like, oh yeah, when we did Mulan, I just Googled China. Or no, Kung Fu Panda. Kung Fu Panda guy's like, oh, I just Googled China. And you're like,
no.
Bro, no. Like, don't admit that. Like, just don't say anything about your research because they're acting like it's this, like, novel idea that they did all this research. I'm like,
huh?
No. Like, you should have done that much research. You should have brought in people from Hawaii and people like Polynesian.
That should be some
cultural
crazy idea, and you don't get cookies for doing it.
Yeah, that's like
the bare minimum
that's just
of research.
How you should make a movie, like any movie. Period. Even if it's not an animated movie.
You know, like when people write books about other cultures, they immerse themselves in research on it. If you write a play about another culture, you usually do a lot of research. Why does Hollywood think that there's some exception to actually having to like know anything about who they're representing? You know,
it's just
like,
it was just mind-boggling. It was hilarious, and it's so yeah. Because you're reading this article, and you're just getting more. And then same thing, they would talk to this guy's like, oh yeah, like to write, you know, for Zootopia, we talked to some like female police officers, and I'm like, yes,
yeah, imagine
great
that.
idea. What a shocking concept to talk to some women when you're writing a female character, you know. And it was like, oh, we tried to make the troll girl like kind of ugly still, and I was like, I don't need you to tell me how to make a positive role model for women, sir. You know, and it's just like, it's just like, it makes me so mad.
Well, and you know, it's one of the problems with this too is that like it's white men teaching how to do this, right? As presumably to other white men. It's not about changing the industry because that's the problem is like what we really need is for these people to be able to make their own stories. Right. You know, like women, people of color, indigenous people, all that kind of stuff. They should be making their own stories instead of having like, hey, for all you white people who want to represent people, here's how you do it.
Well, and that was even in here somewhere where they're like, what's so great about animation is like, oh, people who like don't get don't have a voice, like they can tell their stories like through animation. And I'm like, no, they should be able to tell their stories any way they want. Like it shouldn't be like, oh, we have to use animation because we can't have any black people in this, so we'll use Lego character. I'm like, no, stop. Hard stop. That's not the reason that animation is cool, I think, because you can make your characters do things that you can't physically do in real life. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, you can have a demigod be, you know, like hook an entire island and bring it up, which would look super fake in real life, but looks really rad when it's a cartoon, you know?
Right.
And that's what cartoons are made for. It's not for so that people who are underrepresented can finally have a place. It's like, no, everybody should already have a place, and animation should just be another avenue in which we tell some great stories.
Yeah. If it occurs to you that animation is a place for marginalized voices, then maybe you should be fighting for those marginalized voices to not just be animated and not need to be animated for it to be something that we can allow. You know? It's like just a complete lack of awareness of, you know, what system they are playing into here. You know, that it's such a fake idea of representation. This just like, oh, we'll just make the stories and then people should be happy that their faces, their voices or whatever are being heard instead of like, maybe we should make this a thing where it's not an old boys club, where it's not, you know, a whole bunch of the same white men creating things over and over and over again. It's like, listen, white men can make great movies. Other people can also make great movies. It's kind of like, I was thinking about La La Land, you know, which looks great. And I love Damien Chazelle. I think he's a great director. But some really good movies, Argo, that Ben Affleck made, a lot of really good movies that come out in Hollywood are like about Hollywood. And one of the things that, you know, or stories that are about LA, and it's like, these are things these white men know. right? Like, you can make a really good movie about a thing you know, which is not to say you can't about something you've researched heavily, but a lot of times if you have some sense, it's why indie movies are all just about like rich white people problems, you know? It's like they're writing what they know. So if we want things that present diverse perspectives, how about we get people who know those things?
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is why Moonlight works so well. This is a very insider perspective on this life. You know, it's not trying to impose like Hollywood ideas of what Black life in the ghetto is. It's very sort of inside of what that is and what that means for people. And those are the kinds of stories you get when you kind of get people who are from that to tell these stories.
Right.
Know? So the whole thing is just incredibly tone deaf.
Yeah. Which is interesting because on the flip side, I'd found this article, Vanity Fair did an article on, so Pixar, normally Pixar is very hush-hush about their projects they have coming up, but they have a new movie that they're working on called Coco. And it's actually a really interesting story of how it kind of, they started out a little tone deaf and a little,
yeah,
and a little, but then when presented with the fact of like, hey, asshole, no,
yeah.
They stopped and, you know, were able to make a correction. And then I will hope so, to make the movie a lot richer and a lot better experience. And I think people will go and see it now, at least reading about it. So if you haven't read the article from Vanity Fair, Coco is about a young boy who lives in Mexico, and he lives in like a small village, and he loves music, even though like his grandmother's like, you cannot listen to music because, you know, his grandfather left the family and whatever.
And he was a musician.
He was a musician. And so, but this kid like loves music so much. And so it's a story of how he gets kind of like drawn into the like afterlife sort of. So it's like a Day of the Dead, right? Sort of story where you're going to see a lot of those images that you would see. And they started out first that, you know, this guy was making it and he was like so interested in it. He thought it was going to be so great. And he tried to trademark.
Yeah, tried to trademark Day of the Dead and Dia de los Muertos.
Day of the Dead.
And I remember that happening and being like.
And obviously like some big, you know, there was like I don't even remember now. I'm trying to look back to see exactly what these people, one of them's, I think just like an art, like a writer.
Right.
And
a few activist people.
Activist type people kind of were like, hey, whoa, no, you don't get to do that. And so quickly Disney pulled that, and then they actually ended up, the people who lashed out at them, they brought them into the movie to be cultural
like
consultants, advisors. And so now they're helping make this movie to be culturally good. Cultural, that's like a terrible sentence. That was not where I wanted to go. That's not where I wanted to go when I started saying it, but that's where it ended up. And so, really great story of like, hey, they realize like, oh, but again, and it's Disney, right? Pixar. And same thing with you saw in Moana, where the guys like did a little bit of research and the head guy's like, no, go back, try again, do more.
Better.
And so they're, you know, they do have a history of not doing a great job. Even some of the guys in this, the guys who did, one of the guys that worked on Aladdin was like, oh yeah, we just like went to this expo in Anaheim. And you're like, oh my God.
Like,
that was what you did? And, which is very obvious. If you were to watch Aladdin, you're like, obviously this isn't anything.
Not a lot of fidelity to the culture there.
Clearly, you know, and so I think what's cool about it is Disney's trying to make some amends for that, and now when they're diving into a project is really making it work and not just what they think Mexico is like or what they think that culture is like. And so I was really excited, and they had a couple of images in the article, and it looks amazing as those movies usually do anyway. And they didn't really show you a ton of the like day of the
world,
like the afterworld, the world. They didn't show you a lot of that, just more of the young boy who it's going to be following, who it looks adorable and cute, and you're like, oh my gosh. And so it was interesting that they even had this, because like I said, usually Disney and Pixar, they play this really close to the chest. Vest? Is it chest or vest?
Maybe.
The vest. No, either way, you know what I meant. And so it's kind of cool that they allowed like a little sneak peek into what's going to be coming at some point down the road. And like I said, I was like so excited to read. I'm like, see, look this is what you want when someone's like points out like, hey, you're kind of being the worst about this, and they're like, oh, you're right.
Yeah, we maybe had a blind spot here. Yeah.
And then I loved the fact that it was like their critics that they brought in, not just like people who would be yes men. They're like, well, you obviously have a good critical eye for this. Why don't you come in and tell us, you know, how we should be doing it? So I loved that. And I thought that was so great. And plus it gives, oh, I don't know where I was going with that sentence either. I'm having a hard time today.
Wow, it just like went right out. It's like mid-sentence.
Yep.
Lost it.
Yep. Where it gives some, well, anyway, the end.
Here, here.
I'm crushing this today, you guys.
Yeah, it happens. Well, then let's move on to our final exciting thing.
I feel like I want to hear you explain this.
Completely turns off.
Why don't you do it? Yeah.
I'll do my best. This is very complicated. What I love about this is that National Geographic doesn't attempt to make this understandable at all.
That's because National Geographic gives no fucks, you guys. Let's be honest.
They're just like, okay.
When this, I think it was Duncan that had posted it originally, and when I saw it was National Geographic, I was like, oh, this is gonna be. I'm not gonna understand one word on this. This is gonna be great. And I'm reading it, and I'm like, yep.
Nope, no idea what's going on. But the basic
go ahead.
element of this is that in, I believe, was it Myanmar, like northern Myanmar, they found amber that had within it preserved an actual piece of a dinosaur's tail with the feathers.
You guys, I'm gonna cry just thinking about it. It's so exciting.
It's so exciting. I was just like, as I was reading this, I was imagining, like, can you imagine being there and you uncover this and you're like, what am I looking at? You know, like, is it a bird feather? Because here's the thing, they say this, like, it's very clearly not like a bird of the era. Like, now we know, of course, that birds have evolved from dinosaurs, but that these are like kind of two different things, the dinosaurs, you know, land dinosaurs versus birds of the air at the time. And they can tell that this is not a bird. In fact, that this probably belonged to something that was flightless because of the sort of pattern of these feathers. Chances are they wouldn't have been able to fly. Something that probably was like low on the, you know, carnivorous totem pole hierarchy, you know, the circle of life. Something that would have probably been prey, a smaller dinosaur. Dude, like, I can't. And like, they show a picture of it and it's incredible how preserved it is. They say the feathers seem to be very delicate in it. Obviously, they're not pulling it out. They're like X-raying this thing to figure
even
out
the color,
what's inside of
they were saying it could be described as a chestnut brown with a pale white underside.
It's like so beautiful.
I know, and it's like, looks even like it's like in water. It looks flowy in the picture.
Yeah,
in the
it
amber.
looks flowy. It's incredible. And even next to this feather is this crazy looking ant thing too, with like really long legs. And I'm like, I'm interested in that too. I'd like to know more about that insect, everything. And so there's, you know, sort of political strife in that area that has prevented a lot of their sort of archaeological research. And they're saying that this seems like they might be sort of coming to some sort of peace there that'll open up more opportunities for archaeology. And the scientist who discovered this is like, we may find a whole dinosaur.
You guys, I can't even.
What? Oh my God. Can you imagine? I can't. It's so exciting.
It's coming.
Jurassic Park is coming.
It's real, you guys. It's in the amber. It's in amber, just like in the movie.
It's just like in the movies. You have to look at this picture. You have to read this very dense article that, I mean, really the thing is, it's like, it just doesn't explain anything to you. So when it like references like, it's probably this kind of dinosaur, and they use like all the, you know, technical terms. And then they're like, which is sort of like this one and this one, but not like this one. And you're like, okay, I love dinosaurs, but I don't know them that well.
Right. Well, it's funny. There's like a million links to click on if you want to continue to try and figure out what they're talking about. Yeah, which is great. Well, and it's funny because my was talking about this with some friends, and their kids watch Dino Dan. There's like these kid dinosaur shows. Okay. I'm like, oh, did you guys see this article? And they are telling me, they're like, oh, well, let me tell you about. I'm like, oh, wait, what is happening? They know so much. Kid dinosaur shows are like very factually accurate right now.
They're not like Barney or Denver the Last Dinosaur or whatever anymore.
They're like telling you for real, like Dino Dan's not even in it anymore. It's like his cousin now that does it, and his name is something else. Mark, who knows? Mark like time travels to different time periods so that they just don't throw all the same dinosaurs into the same time period.
Right,
so if you want to see one, you got to go to different all these things, and it's like. Anyway, it's so interesting, and so I'm like, maybe I should watch Dino Dan. I'm like, is it on Netflix?
Oh, right, yeah, now I'm interested. Like,
yeah, so apparently they teach you very accurate things about dinosaurs because they knew way more than me. Because I was like trying to explain the article. I'm like, well, I don't remember what period it was from, and they're like, well, was it this period or this period? Because technically feather. They're like, send you the article because you would probably understand it better than I would.
I think it's Cretaceous period. This dinosaur. But this, so here it was one of the things, I'm reading this partly to show the way this article is written, and also because I love the end of it. The weakly developed tail feathers also suggest that the owner of the Cretaceous tail falls somewhere lower down on the evolutionary tree of theropod dinosaurs. Perhaps a basal primitive Manoraptoran, Ching suggests, referring to the subgroup of coelurosaurs that include Oviraptorosaurus and Therizinosaurs. And then see the Oviraptorosaur that paleontologists have dubbed the chicken from hell. So great. And then I clicked on it, and the chicken from hell is a 66 million year old feathered dino that resembled a giant demonic bird. Yeah, that is what it looks like. But it's so great. This whole thing is so fun. I love science and discovery and how cool that is, and just imagining being in that position, finding something like that. It had to have been incredible. Just incredible.
Yeah, especially when I feel like dinosaurs, like there's so much about dinosaurs. I'm like, how much could people really, right. There's always more. Yeah. Like they're always finding more stuff.
And it's amazing that evidence exists,
right?
like millions and millions of years, and we're still finding stuff like this, and there's still more. There probably are whole dinosaurs preserved and things like that we just haven't even managed to get to.
I don't want to get my hopes up. That would be so amazing.
Right? If this happens in our lifetime, it's going to be, oh man.
Oh man.
Yes. So we ended on that delightful scientific note.
There you go, you guys. So thanks for hanging out with us on this rainy day. I don't know if it's raining where you are, but it's raining where I am. It was earlier, at least. Now it's just sort of windy and cold. But anyway, thanks for joining us. It's been fun. We've had a great time today. So as per usual, make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, and make sure you check out the blog on electricfeast.com. Us on YouTube, subscribe on iTunes. That way you can give us a little rate and review, because we like to know how we're doing.
Indeed.
Because that's important to us. Anyway.
It is.
The end.
We want you to be happy, listener.
Yes, listeners. So anyway, that's it for today. So if there's nothing else, I will sign off. I'm Kristen Latterell.
I'm Corrigan Vaughn. Peace out, everybody.
Take it easy, kids.